I still remember that afternoon like it was painted in slow motion. The sky was a dim gray, and the wind carried the scent of monsoon dust. I had just received a call from my cousin. Her wedding was in 2 weeks, and she wanted me right by her side. It should have been a joyous moment, but instead, it stirred a silent panic inside me. I didn't own anything suitable for such a grand celebration. My wardrobe held nothing more than worn-out shalwar kameez stitched by local tailors. Everyone at the wedding would be dressed to impress, and I couldn't bear the thought of showing up looking out of place. I knew my family's financial situation left no room for luxuries. My mother, a widow, worked double shifts just to keep the house running. Asking her for money for a designer suit felt selfish, impossible, even. That's how I ended up at Zabe Fashion House, a boutique that had always been out of my league. The name glowed in golden letters on a glass panel. It was said that even minor celebrities shopped there. I hesitated at the entrance, almost turning back. But the image of my cousin in her bridal dress and me beside her in faded fabric pushed me forward. The shop was air-conditioned, softly lit, and smelled faintly of sandalwood and new fabric. As I browsed nervously through the racks, a tall man in his late 30s approached with a practiced smile. "Looking for something special?" he asked. I have a wedding to attend," I replied, trying not to sound too unsure of myself. "Ah, perfect timing. We just got a new collection," he said, his eyes lingering on me longer than they should have. His name was Rafiq, the owner. His reputation for being generous with female customers was whispered about but never openly questioned. He walked me through the shelves like a host guiding a guest through a mansion. Then he pulled out a deep maroon embroidered suit, the kind that looked like it belonged in a bridal magazine. I held it against myself and looked in the mirror. For a second, I forgot where I was. The fabric shimmered, and for the first time in years, I saw myself as beautiful. "How much is it?" I asked hesitantly. Rafiq tilted his head and said, "For you? Nothing if you're willing to spend the night with me." My body froze. The room felt colder. I blinked, hoping I'd heard wrong, but his expression confirmed it. Calm. Serious. I placed the suit back on the rack, my hands trembling. Without another word, I walked out of the store and sat on the bench outside, breathing heavily. I had come in search of a suit. What I found was a choice no woman should ever have to make. The sun had dipped low by the time I reached home, but the weight in my chest had only grown heavier. I moved around the house like a ghost, silently helping my younger siblings with their schoolwork while pretending everything was fine. My mother asked if I had found something for the wedding. I nodded vaguely, not trusting myself to speak. What could I tell her? That a man tried to buy my dignity in exchange for a piece of fabric? That night, I lay awake, staring at the cracked ceiling, the silence of our modest home amplifying the storm inside me. My thoughts kept circling the same brutal reality. I couldn't afford anything decent. I'd searched through every local market, every discount corner. Nothing came close to the elegance or fit of the maroon suit Rafiq had offered me. It wasn't just a dress anymore. It had become a symbol of everything I couldn't have unless I paid a price that felt too high. And yet, I hated how my mind kept drifting back to it. The next morning, I borrowed money from a neighbor and visited a few tailors. They showed me old designs, cheap fabric, rush stitching. Nothing felt right. Nothing felt worthy of standing beside a bride. My phone buzzed. My cousin had sent a picture of her bridal lehenga with a caption, "Can't wait to see what you'll wear." I stared at it for a long time. Later that day, my friend Saba came over. I finally told her a softer version of what happened. She didn't press for details, only rummaged through her cupboard and pulled out an old dress. "It's not perfect," she said, "but you'll look good in it." The dress was faded and fraying at the edges. I smiled politely and thanked her, but inside, I crumbled. I didn't want to look good enough. I wanted to belong, to feel radiant, even if just for one evening. As evening approached, I stood outside the boutique once again. My heart pounded against my ribs like a warning drum. I wasn't sure why I came. I told myself it was to confront him, to reject the offer properly. But deep down, I was tangled in something far more dangerous, desperation mixed with doubt. Rafik noticed me through the window and gestured me inside. I hesitated. Then, slowly, I pushed the door open, stepping into the cool, perfumed air of a place I had no business returning to. Somewhere in the back of my mind, a voice whispered, "Just one night. It's just one night." But another voice, softer and sadder, asked, "And what will it cost you afterward?" The shop was quiet when I walked in, its soft lighting and polished floors giving the illusion of serenity. Rafik stood behind the counter, as composed as ever, as though my presence was expected. He smiled faintly and motioned toward the maroon suit on the display stand, freshly steamed, glinting like temptation in silk form. "You came back," he said, voice calm, almost kind. "I need the suit," I replied, my tone flat. He didn't ask any more questions. Instead, he handed me the outfit and pointed toward the changing room. I took it with unsteady hands and stepped inside. The fabric was soft against my skin, luxurious in a way that made me feel like I didn't belong in it. But when I looked in the mirror, I didn't see shame or hesitation. I saw someone pretending to be stronger than she was. I emerged slowly, and Rafik watched me without blinking. "You look perfect," he said. Then, with a slight nod, he gestured toward the office in the back. Each step toward that room felt like I was walking away from a version of myself I once respected. Inside, the air was colder. A clock ticked on the wall. A soft couch, a desk, a closed window. Nothing extraordinary, and yet everything about the space screamed finality. I sat on the edge of the couch, numb, while Rafik placed a cup of tea in front of me. "You don't have to do anything you're uncomfortable with," he said, almost mockingly. "You can still walk away, but the suit stays." I looked at the tea, then at him. I nodded once, not because I agreed, but because I didn't trust my voice not to break. The next hour was a blur, more emotional than physical. The details don't matter. What matters is that I walked out of that room feeling like the floor beneath me had shifted forever. Rafik, on the other hand, was back behind the counter, casually folding scarves as if nothing had happened. He handed me the shopping bag with the suit neatly packed inside and, to my surprise, tucked in a few crisp currency notes along with it. "You are worth more than just fabric," he said with a smirk. I didn't respond. I couldn't. My legs moved on their own as I left the shop, the shopping bag hanging from my hand like a trophy I never asked for. Outside, the night had grown quiet. Streetlights flickered above me. Somewhere in the distance, laughter echoed from a chai stall. Life, it seemed, had gone on, but I hadn't. Not yet. And as I walked home with trembling steps, one thought played on repeat in my mind. I got the suit, but what did I lose? The day of the wedding arrived with bright colors and bustling laughter, but I felt like a ghost in a world too loud. The maroon suit fit perfectly, every thread stitched with elegance, but to me, it felt heavier than armor. As I stood beside my cousin in the wedding photos, people smiled and complimented my appearance. "You look stunning," one woman whispered. "Where did you buy this masterpiece?" another asked. I smiled politely, answering with half-truths and quiet nods. Only I knew what it had truly cost me. Saba found me sitting alone under the fairy lights later that evening. She noticed what others didn't, the sadness behind the eyeliner, the silence beneath the music. "Did you go back to him?" she asked gently. I looked away. Tears welled up before I could stop them. I nodded. She didn't judge. She didn't pity me. She just held my hand and said, "You made a hard choice. That doesn't make you weak. It makes you human." Her words didn't erase the shame, but they loosened its grip on me. For the first time, I allowed myself to cry, not from guilt, but from release. Weeks passed. I avoided the boutique street. I avoided mirrors. I avoided questions. But one afternoon, Saba told me about a small women-owned boutique looking for help, designers, salesgirls, even assistants. I hesitated, but she insisted. "You need to stand on your own feet. You're stronger than you think." I went for the interview, clutching my resume like a lifeline. The boutique was small but warm. The owner, a kind woman named Fariha, listened to my nervous stammers and gave me a simple reply. You've seen struggle. That makes you valuable here. I started working there the next week. Folding clothes, arranging displays, helping brides-to-be find the right shade of hope. Every time I helped someone choose a dress, I made sure they felt empowered, not bought. One day, a young girl came in, hesitant and quiet. She reminded me of myself. As I helped her pick an outfit, she smiled and said, "You're really kind. I was scared to come here, but you made it easy." That moment felt like a stitch in a torn soul, small but strong. I never saw Rafik again. Word spread that his boutique had closed. Some said too many girls had similar stories. No one confirmed it. No one denied it. But it no longer mattered to me. I kept the maroon suit. It now sits at the back of my cupboard, not as a symbol of pain, but as a reminder of the girl who bent but didn't break. Because sometimes, betrayal doesn't come with broken promises. It comes with a price tag. And healing doesn't come in loud declarations. It comes in quiet victories. I wore shame once. Now I wear resilience.